What happens when the only person you trust becomes the reason your heart shatters, and the one you're not supposed to love becomes your greatest comfort? And you know, some stories aren't born out of romance, they're carved out of pain. Mine started the day my life fell apart and ended in the arms of someone I never imagined. My best friend's son. Welcome to Beyond Belief Stories. To get a shout out from us, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and tell us where you're watching from in the comment below. Ada had always been the strong one, the dependable wife, the loving mother, the best friend who never failed to show up. For 18 years, she built her life around her husband, Kunle, the man she believed was her soulmate. She sacrificed career dreams, poured her energy into their home, and supported him through every promotion, every business venture, every setback. But love, as she would come to learn, doesn't always reward loyalty. One rainy Friday evening, Kunle came home with the words that shattered everything. "I'm tired, Ada. I haven't loved you in a long time. I want a divorce." Just like that. No warning. No compassion. She later found out he'd been seeing a much younger woman, someone Ada had once mentored during a church youth mentorship program. The betrayal cut so deep it left her breathless. Her world unraveled quickly. Family members whispered behind her back. Church friends grew distant. Her teenage son became withdrawn, blaming her silently. Even her reflection became a stranger. Hollow eyes, trembling lips, weight loss she didn't notice until her favorite dress slid off her shoulders. It was Remy, her best friend since their university days, who came to her rescue. Remy, warm and bold, had always been the life of the party. Married early, had her son Gidi at 21, and now ran a thriving interior design firm. She took one look at Ada's broken state and said, "Come stay with us. You don't need to explain anything. Just come." Ada moved into Remy's guest house, a serene, leafy compound with a calming scent of jasmine. She intended to stay only 2 weeks. 2 weeks to think, breathe, and maybe eat again. But 2 weeks became 2 months. Gide was home from Canada, a tall, soft-spoken man now. No longer the teenager who once called her Auntie Ada with loud greetings and playful hugs. He had grown into a man, thoughtful, intelligent, with quiet eyes that noticed everything. Their first real conversation happened over tea on a quiet morning. Ada, wrapped in a blanket, was staring into space. Gide came and sat beside her, wordless at first. Then he said softly, "You look like you're carrying the whole sky on your shoulders." She laughed bitterly. "Feels more like a falling roof." That broke the dam. For the first time in weeks, she talked. About Kunle, the lies, the shame, the loneliness. And Gide, he just listened. No judgment, no pity, just presence. From that day, he became her comfort. He'd bring her books, recommend movies, cook for her when she forgot to eat. He spoke about therapy, healing, inner strength. He reminded her she was still beautiful, still worthy, still human. Ada started smiling again, laughing even. She began to feel like herself, not the broken wife, not the forgotten woman, but Ada, just Ada. One evening, after a long walk around the neighborhood, they sat on the porch watching the stars. Gide had just shared a painful memory of his father's absence and how hard it was growing up watching his mom do everything alone. Ada reached for his hand, instinctively. "Your mom is proud of you," she said, voice trembling. "I am too." Their eyes locked, not in lust, not in flirtation, but in something deeper. A recognition, a shared grief, a quiet longing. Then it happened. A soft kiss. Hesitant, brief, but enough to wake something in both of them. They pulled away instantly, breathless, horrified. "I'm sorry," Ada whispered. "That shouldn't have happened." Gide nodded, but he didn't move away. "I'm not sorry I care about you," he said gently, "but I understand." They said nothing more that night, but silence can be loud, and in that silence the seed was planted, one that would bloom into something complicated, beautiful, and ultimately heartbreaking. I thought healing would look like solitude, therapy, prayer. But mine came with eyes I wasn't supposed to look into, and hands I wasn't supposed to hold. I didn't know it yet, but this story was only just beginning, and the price of that one kiss would be everything. Ada tried to convince herself it was a moment of weakness. That kiss meant nothing. It was just two hurting souls crossing lines they shouldn't have. The next morning, she avoided Gide completely, leaving early for errands, staying longer in her room, skipping meals when she knew he was around. But the heart is a traitor when it's been starved of affection. Days turned into weeks, and Jide remained kind, never crossing the line again, never pushing. But his presence lingered. The way he'd glance at her when she entered the room, the silent way he noticed when she wore makeup again, when he cooked her favorite spicy jollof and pretended it was for the whole house. Ada's defenses crumbled the night she had a panic attack. It was late. A storm was pounding outside, and she woke up gasping for breath, heart racing, tears spilling without control. She couldn't breathe, couldn't move, couldn't call anyone. Then a knock. "Auntie Ada, are you okay?" She didn't answer, but he came in anyway. When he saw her curled in bed, trembling like a frightened child, he didn't ask questions. He just held her. Strong arms, calm breathing, soft voice. "You're okay, I'm here, you're not alone." And somehow, just like that, she wasn't. That night, she didn't sleep in pain. She slept in his arms. Nothing happened. No kisses. No touches. Just warmth. Presence. Something she hadn't felt in so long. But the next night, they kissed again. This time, it wasn't brief. It was long, deep, heavy with all the words neither of them dared to say aloud. From there, the line disappeared. They were lovers now, though secretly, carefully. They stole moments during walks, shared messages late at night, and found comfort in corners of the house when Remy wasn't looking. Jide started calling her Ada instead of Auntie, and that, strangely, made her feel alive. But no secret stays hidden forever. One afternoon, Ada and Jide were seen together, too close, too familiar, by Remy's business associate at a boutique. She didn't say anything then, but pictures were taken, and whispers started. It was a quiet Saturday morning when Remy stormed into the guest house, her face pale, hands trembling, phone in hand, photo wide open. Ada's heart stopped. "You slept with my son?" Remy's voice cracked between rage and heartbreak. Ada couldn't speak, couldn't lie. The guilt was crushing. "How long? How long have you been betraying me under my own roof?" Remy screamed. "I took you in. I trusted you. You were my sister." Jide ran in, trying to explain, but his presence only made it worse. "You?" Remy turned to him. "You let this happen. She raised you, Jide. You disgust me both." Tears streamed down Ada's face, but she didn't ask for forgiveness. How could she? "I never meant to hurt you, Remy," she whispered. But it was too late. The betrayal had broken something that couldn't be fixed. Remy packed Ada's bags that same day, threw them into her car. "You're no longer welcome here. Go ruin someone else's life." Jide stood torn between two women, his mother and his lover, both in tears. He tried to follow Ada, but she told him to stay. "This is your family. Don't destroy more because of me." She drove away in silence, her heart heavier than it had ever been. There's no pain greater than hurting the one who once saved you. Love came to me in the wrong face, at the wrong time, and I paid the price with everything I had left. I had no home, no friend, no voice, only a heart that loved too deeply, and a soul drowning in shame. Ada left Remy's home with just 2 boxes and a heart full of shame. She moved into a small rented apartment far from the part of town they used to know, far from the whispers, far from the betrayal. But you can't outrun guilt. You carry it like your shadow, quiet, persistent, and always just behind you. She stayed indoors for weeks, avoiding the outside world. Her phone never rang. Her church stopped checking in. Even her son, still angry about the divorce, didn't answer her calls. And Jide? He texted, called, even came to her new place once. But Ada didn't open the door. She sat behind it, weeping silently as he knocked. "I still love you," he said through the wood. "I'm not ashamed. I chose you, Ada. I still do." But Ada didn't reply. She knew what they had wasn't just love. It was ruin. Beautiful, addictive, but ruinous. 3 months. That's how long it took for the world to quiet down. Ada slowly picked up the pieces of her life. She got a job, a quiet one, as a content editor for an online magazine. She began therapy. She started writing again. Sometimes she'd write about heartbreak, other times about redemption. But the name she never stopped writing, even if only in her heart, was Jide. Then, one afternoon, she received a letter. Handwritten. No return address. Just her name on the envelope. Inside was a single sheet. Jide's handwriting. "Ada, I've stopped trying to understand what we did and started accepting what we felt. I don't regret loving you. I only regret that our love had to hurt others. If I had met you in another life, maybe as equals, maybe without guilt, I would have married you without question. But I've left now. I took a job in Berlin. I need space. Maybe we both do. But know this, you made me a man, not because of what we did, but because of how deeply you made me feel. I will always carry you with me, not as a sin, but as the one person who taught me what real love feels like. Goodbye for now. Judy. Ada clutched the letter to her chest and sobbed like she hadn't in months, not because she lost him, but because she had him, even if briefly. And sometimes that's enough. She folded the letter, placed it in a small box with the pictures and mementos she had secretly kept, not out of shame, but out of truth. 1 year later. Ada walked into a quiet cafe one afternoon, wearing a flowy emerald dress and soft smile. She had healed. Her eyes were clearer, her steps lighter. At the back of the cafe, a woman waved at her. It was Remy, older, quieter, her face softer but still guarded. They hadn't spoken in over a year. Ada approached, sat. Neither said a word at first. Then Remy spoke. I read your latest article, the one about healing through heartbreak. Ada looked down. I didn't mean to. Remy shook her head. I know it was about G-Day. I know it was real. I hated you, but I also understand now. They both cried quietly, not in reconciliation, not in full forgiveness, but in recognition of the pain they both had carried. Remy reached out, held Ada's hand. I don't know if I can ever forget, but I don't want to hate you anymore. Love doesn't always come wrapped in perfection. Sometimes it comes with consequences. Sometimes it comes too late. But every once in a while, it changes us forever. He was my best friend's son, and the man who taught me that even broken hearts can still beat. If this story touched you, drop it in the comments. Subscribe for more emotional, raw, and unforgettable stories.